I have been kind since I was young. Even when I found out that Alex was using my money to flirt with someone, I didn't get angry. I was even a bit happy. My family arranged a blind date for me, and I really liked the guy. I was about to break up with Alex. He also had someone he liked, and I thought that even if the relationship ended, Alex wouldn't be heartbroken. Sigh. I'm always so kind. Chapter 1. My assistant sent me a compressed file. I opened it and found dozens of high-definition photos. When I saw the photos, my first reaction was that the photographer my assistant found had pretty good skills and used excellent equipment. My second reaction was realizing that Alex really was using my money to flirt with another woman. The main subjects in the photos were the same pair of people: the male college student I was supporting, Alex, and the beauty queen of their department. Young and good-looking, they looked perfect together in the photos. Eva leaned over and said, "The girl looks quite pretty. And with Alex, they make a great couple. They seem better together than you and Alex." I rolled my eyes at her. Eva poked my shoulder. "Aren't you angry that your little boyfriend is playing pure love behind your back?" "No. I'm fine with it. Now that I'm about to break up with him, he won't be upset. It'll be perfect for them." I sighed. "You know, I'm very kind. It's okay to take a little loss." Eva rolled her eyes at me this time. "Don't try that with me. If Alex had any sense, it would be fine. But if he doesn't, I can't imagine how bad his luck would be." I ignored her. I lowered my head and messaged my assistant, "Get the same equipment used for these photos and buy one for me." The assistant quickly replied, "Okay." I heard that the CEO of Sakura, Mr. Chan, enjoys photography and often goes out to shoot photos. Eva kept talking. "By the way, your family has arranged so many blind dates for you, and there are plenty of good ones, but you really want to pick Sean?" I nodded. "Yes." She shook her head. "Your taste is so hard to understand. You liked a college guy before, and now you like a playboy. Is it really that hard to understand?" "It doesn't seem that difficult to me. For me, all men are the same. What I like is always the one who's useful to me." Chapter 2. After work, Sean Ning came to pick me up. The Ning family was having a family dinner today, and since I was his girlfriend, they invited me. In the driver's seat, Sean's shirt collar was open, revealing his delicate collarbones. He had such a superior appearance. If it weren't for the mismatch in our statuses, I'd actually consider keeping him. I withdrew my gaze and continued watching a photography tutorial. Sean glanced at my phone. "I remember you weren't interested in photography." I nodded. "I'm not really interested, but I have another use for learning this." Sean asked, "For the Sakura project?" I looked at him in surprise. "No need to look at me like that. Our relationship is special, so it's normal for me to know a few things about you." His voice was calm. "Mr. Chan has been enjoying photographing the old city lately. He'll probably be heading to the western part of the city this weekend." I smiled sincerely. "Thank you." Sean glanced at me. "I help you. You help me. No need to be so polite." I smiled even more sincerely. He continued, "When we get to my place later, don't be so formal. Whether I can have some peace and quiet depends on you." I immediately reassured him. "Don't worry. I won't slip up." He chuckled, looking in a really good mood. Chapter 3. I'm a pragmatist. Whether it's things or people, I always apply pragmatism. A year ago, I met Alex when I went back to my alma mater to visit my professor. Alex was running on the track that day. He was dressed simply, a white t-shirt and gray pants. The weather was bad, and suddenly, it started pouring rain. We took shelter together. The rain soaked Alex's clothes, and his shirt clung to his body. A wet white shirt can sometimes create some awkward situations. That day was no different. Alex felt a bit awkward, but for me, the shirt was quite considerate. I couldn't help but look at him, his 8-pack abs, his toned waist, and his handsome face. I admit, I was tempted. We exchanged WeChat, and I began to pursue him. Though I'm a few years older than him, I'm wealthy and good-looking. My pursuit of Alex gave him a sense of pride, and he didn't resist for long before agreeing. Alex didn't disappoint me. He had a lot going for him, very much so. Later on, my parents started pressuring me about marriage. I didn't refuse their arrangements. The blind dates kept coming. given my conditions. Most of the blind dates were of high quality, but none of them caught my eye. That was until Sean Ning sat in front of me. He came from the Ning family, the son of the head of the Ning family. The Lin family is fine, but they can't compare to the established Ning family. He and I had the same issue, both pressured to get married and settle down. Like me, Sean didn't refuse. After all, neither of us came from nothing. Sean had a few ex-girlfriends. Each of his relationships lasted only a short time, with the longest being no more than 3 months. He really couldn't change his nature. He was extremely fickle and couldn't settle down with anyone. When Sean and I went on a blind date, he was very casual. We're from the same circle. You must have heard of my reputation. Let me tell you honestly, I'm hard to change. He was quite honest, with a clear self-awareness, directly admitting he was a jerk. I looked at him, my eyes narrowing with a smile. That's fine. I don't mind. I'm kind and tolerant. He stared at me, his gaze deep, then gave me an ambiguous smile. After that, he took out his phone, raising an eyebrow. He said, "Let's add each other on WeChat and stay in touch." We hit it off immediately. I was interested in his background, and he was interested in me helping him avoid his elders' nagging. That's how it went, from being a blind date to his family inviting me to their family dinner. It only took a little over a month. I made an investment, and Sean didn't disappoint me. Look, this is the kind of man I like. They are always useful to me in this way. Alex's abs and toned waist were like that, and Sean's resources are like that too. Eva asked me if I was angry or bothered by it. Why would I be angry or bothered? From the start, I had my own intentions. I wasn't after their love. I'm a pragmatist. After all, Chapter 4. The Ning family had arrived. We both went inside together. As soon as Aunt Ning saw me, she grabbed my hand and said with a mock reproachful tone, "Lily, you're finally here. The last time you came was 3 days ago." Sean, really? You should have invited Lily over more often. Sean looked helpless. Mom, I have to work. And Lillian has work too. Besides, it's only been 3 days. Last time I was on a business trip for a month, and you didn't even call me once. Aunt Ning gave him a stern look. I linked my arm with Aunt Ning's and spoke gently. Auntie, how are the flowers in the greenhouse? I've been thinking about them ever since I saw them last time. Aunt Ning dropped Sean and led me to the greenhouse. They're blooming beautifully. I was just about to cut a few branches to arrange. Lily, come help me. After helping Aunt Ning with the flower arrangements, Grandpa Ning called me over. He asked me to play Go with him, but after a short time, he didn't know how to continue the game. He waved his hand. Xiao Chu, you can go out for a while. I need to think about my next move. After stepping outside, I ran into Sean's younger sister at the door. She tugged at the hem of my clothes. Sister, one of my classmates has a higher rank than me. Can you help me win? I didn't see Sean again until 2 hours later. I was sitting on the sofa, letting out a long breath. He sat down opposite me and poured me a glass of water. Lillian, I've noticed that you're well-liked and that people warm up to you easily. I took a sip of water. It's the same for you. Mr. Ning, you're also well-liked. He had a great reputation, but there were still people trying to win his favor. That wasn't the same as being liked. He asked, "So, did I win your favor?" TSK. The playboy really liked flirting anytime, anywhere. I answered, "Yes. And what about you, Mr. Ning? Do you like me?" He smiled. "You're my girlfriend. Of course I like you." I thought for a moment and asked, "Since that's the case, I've heard that Ning Corporation has a project. Do you think Lin Corporation could compete for it?" His smile didn't falter. "It depends on Lin Corporation's capabilities." I gave a slightly regretful look. Seems like Mr. Ning doesn't like me enough after all. He sighed as well. "While we're together, you're still thinking about work. Looks like I'm not enough to make you like me." I stared at him, feeling like something wasn't quite right. Just as I was about to say something, Sean's little sister popped out from behind. "Sister, help! I'm about to lose." Sean stood up and took her away, but I still didn't get a chance to rest, because Grandpa Ning had finally figured out his next move in the game. Chapter 5. When I returned from the Ning family's house, the lights in the house were off, and Alex hadn't come back yet. Not long after we started dating, Alex moved out of the dormitory and started living with me. Recently, he had been coming back later and later, while I was revising the cooperation proposal. I waited for him to return. About half an hour later, he arrived. The doorbell rang while I was making coffee. Intending to extend my life, he walked in, reeking of women's perfume and alcohol. Heading straight toward me, I instinctively furrowed my brows. He opened his arms, calling sister, and tried to cling to me in a sticky, affectionate manner. I extended a finger and lightly pressed it against his forehead. With a gentle push, he fell to the floor. He stared at me in confusion. I took a sip of coffee. Ouch. A bit too hot. I glanced at Alex. Sober up. Then pack your things. I've booked a room for you through my assistant. Go stay there for the night and move back to the dorm after that. Alex's eyes widened in shock. It seemed he no longer needed to sober up. He stood up and asked, "What do you mean?" I calmly replied, "It means I'm ending this relationship." He stared at me. "Lillian, what's wrong with you? You're just suddenly saying you want to break up." I took out my phone and sent him a few pictures. "Not sudden at all. I just find you disgusting." His chest heaved, and he looked furious. "Lillian, you had someone follow me and take these photos. It's just normal socializing with her. Besides, how dare you say I'm dirty? I haven't said anything about you being." Before he could finish his sentence, I splashed coffee all over his face. I smiled. "Is it because I've spoiled you too much? You dare to talk to me like that? Alex, behave yourself, and don't make a scene, okay?" He fell silent, although not very smart. Alex wasn't a complete fool. He knew that making trouble with me would only hurt him. I turned around and made another cup of coffee. When I finished, he was still standing there, stunned. As I passed him, I reminded him, "Alex, you're of no use to me anymore. You have half an hour to leave." His eyes were red with anger, but just as I was about to pour the second cup of coffee on him, he moved. I thought for a moment and added, "Before you leave, remember to wipe the floor clean." He picked up a cloth. 25 minutes later, he was gone. At least he was obedient. Chapter 6. Time passed quickly. A month later, I secured the cooperation deal with Sakura. The day after the contract was signed, I invited Sean out for dinner. He was surprised. "You landed the deal, and instead of celebrating, you're treating me to a meal?" I explained. "You helped, didn't you?" He chuckled. "I just mentioned that Mr. Chan likes to go to certain places. The fact that we got the deal is mostly thanks to your outstanding abilities." I appreciated his words, though I said, "Even just 1% of help is still help." He reminded me that I should show my appreciation. Making people feel good could lead to more assistance in the future. His lips curled into a smile, and his eyes softened. "Then can I trade my 1% of help for a small favor from you?" I asked. "What is it?" He said, "There's a cocktail party next week in City A. I need a female companion to attend with me. Are you free?" My eyes lit up. "I'm free. Of course. Building connections is something you make time for, even when you're busy." One meal in exchange for attending a cocktail party with him. What a deal. Chapter 7. After dinner, my dad called and asked me to come back to the old house. When I got out of the car, I happened to run into my brother. As soon as he saw me, he scowled and gave a cold snort. I didn't get angry. Instead, I smiled. "Brother, wait for me. Let's go in together." He walked quickly, not stopping at all. I hurried after him into the house. Our parents were in the living room. Seeing us, they called us over to sit. My mom was radiant, her face full of pride. "You secured the cooperation with Sakura. All my old friends heard about it and keep praising me for having such an outstanding daughter. Lily, you really make me proud." Even my dad, who rarely complimented anyone, said, "You did well on this deal." After the praise, we all went back to our rooms. My brother stopped me. "Lillian, don't get so smug. You think I don't know? You only got the Sakura deal because of Sean. You seduced a man for success. What's there to be proud of? Me, huh? Seriously, what's wrong with him?" "Brother, I got that deal thanks to my own effort and my team, okay? Do you think President Chan is an idiot? That just telling him I'm Sean's girlfriend is enough? Or do you think Sean is some kind of emperor?" And if Chan didn't agree, Sean would have his whole family wiped out. I knew my brother would be upset, but I didn't expect him to lose all reason. Our dad is getting older and wants to hand over power. He's always said the important things will go to the most capable. When it comes to power struggles, even siblings from the same mother will fight like crazy. Not to mention me and him, same father, different mothers. We never got along, but my brother wouldn't listen, just kept spouting nonsense. If it weren't for him, how could you do it? You're just a woman. You should get married and stay home, not compete with me. I felt a vein throbbing at my temple, my tone turning cold. Why? Because I want to step on people like you. I love my career. I love money. Because it means I can do whatever I want. The higher you climb, the freer you become. I understood this truth a long time ago. My brother glared at me with hatred. Don't get too cocky. It won't last. I replied. Oh. I turned to leave, but then thought of something and added. I heard you smashed a cup in your office yesterday. For someone so young, you sure have a bad temper. Better see a psychologist. Or else when I get even more successful, it might just kill you from anger. His face turned beet red. I shook my head and went back to my room. How boring. Chapter 8. A week later, Sean picked me up to go to the cocktail party. It was a business-oriented event with lots of attendees. My family doesn't have much business in City A. So at the party, I knew some people, but for most of them, I only recognized them. They didn't know me. But that was then. Things are different now. They'll know who I am soon enough. Recently, the Lin family has been planning to expand into City A. Just as I was starting to feel drowsy, Sean handed me a pillow. He really is a good person. Sean took me around to meet people. When we finished the introductions, I nudged him. You have a lot of friends here, right? You probably haven't seen them in a while. You don't have to worry about me. Go catch up with them. With Sean around, it's hard for me to make any moves. Sure, he can introduce me, but if I stick with him the whole night, everyone's first impression of me will just be as the girl he brought along. He looked down at me, a bit aggrieved, a bit helpless. I put on my most innocent face, but for some reason, I felt a little guilty. I couldn't help but look away first. Sean sighed softly. Go ahead. I'm leaving, I awkwardly said. Have fun chatting. He smiled wryly. I just hope you won't forget you still have a date tonight. Still awkward. I said. I won't forget. Definitely won't forget. Sean left. Looking back every few steps, I picked up my wine glass and walked over to my target. At the same time, I reminded myself not to sound so stiff when talking to them. Chapter 9. By the end of the cocktail party, I had gained a lot of new contacts in my phone. When it was about time, I went to look for Sean. He was talking with a few people at the time. I didn't go straight over. Instead, I stopped at a spot not too close or too far away. At first, they were discussing industry trends, but then, all of a sudden, they started talking about me. Sean, the lady you brought tonight, is she your new girlfriend? She's really pretty. Sean just responded with a One of the guys turned, spotted me, and his expression immediately showed he was up to no good. He said in a sleazy tone, everyone knows President Ning is a player. None of his girlfriends last more than 3 months, right? This one must have lasted over 2 months by now. President Ning, are you about to break up soon? Someone chimed in. Of course. He brings a girl to a party, but doesn't stay with her. Leaves her in a place where she doesn't know anyone. If he still liked her, would he act like this? Another person laughed in a gross way. Hey, President Ning, after you break up, introduce her to me. I don't mind picking up where you left off. With his back to me, I couldn't see Sean's expression, but I heard his voice turn suddenly cold. Lillian is different from others. As for you, someone like you isn't even worth her time. The mood immediately went cold. Sean got up and left. When he turned around and saw me, his expression quickly softened. As I waited for him to walk over, I couldn't help but think, I really am just too outstanding. Chapter 10. A new friend I made invited me to her birthday party, so I delayed my return for 2 days. Sean didn't go back first either. He waited until I finished the birthday party and then left with me. On the way back, Sean said with a hint of frustration, You're always so likable. Suddenly, I feel a bit insecure. I pretended not to understand. Some things don't need to be made clear too soon. I simply replied, President Ning, you really know how to joke. He gave me a deep look, but my expression remained calm. For the rest of the journey, he didn't say another word. Sean dropped me off at my place, and just as I was about to say goodbye, a shadow suddenly darted out from the corner. His eyes were red as he accused me. It's all true. The only reason you broke up with me was because you cheated. Chapter 11. Sean stepped in front of me protectively. As I said, it's fine. I walked out from behind him. I stared at Alex. He hadn't shaved his chin. His face was pale, and he looked really haggard. He wasn't doing well at all. I knew how Alex had been when I was supporting him. I sent him money every month, and someone took care of his daily needs. He didn't have much of a brain, was wasteful with money, and whatever I gave him, he used up. As long as someone took care of him, he didn't care about anything else. Now that we had broken up, his quality of life had plummeted. After returning to the dorm, he had already gotten into a conflict with someone because he couldn't control his temper. Oh, and that woman he had been flirting with wasn't flirting with him anymore. I smiled at him. Need money? Alex clenched his fists and moved forward, and Sean stepped up too. I held Sean back. I'm fine. You can go home. Sean turned to look at me. Is it really okay? I nodded. I'm good at taekwondo. Sean started the car, but didn't leave. Instead, he parked not too far away. I asked Alex again, did my brother send you here? His gaze flickered for a moment, and he didn't answer. I scoffed. Did my brother send you to break me and Sean up? I really don't get what he's thinking. Does he want me and Sean to break up, and then for him to swoop in and take the position? Alex huffed. Why are you bringing up other people? Lillian, you owe me an explanation. I laughed even more. An explanation? You want me to explain? Alex, how did I never realize you had such comedic talent? Alex, you should know by now. My temper isn't that great. He shouted. Lillian, you never loved me. I raised an eyebrow. No, that's wrong. I did love you, but my love wasn't what you expected. When I was little, I had a doll. Her hair was golden, and her face was cute. I spent a lot of my pocket money on her, bought her little clothes, little accessories, but soon I didn't like her anymore. She was just a toy, and I had the money to buy a cuter one. Alex, you were that doll, the doll that's now useless. Alex looked stunned, frozen in place. You treated me like a toy? I replied. I wouldn't put it that way. I gave you money, and you gave me your body. Our relationship was more like an employment one. Alex was furious. He must have lost his mind because he really wanted to make a move. Sean noticed and blocked him. Strangely, Alex calmed down. He said coldly, you probably don't know, but when he was with you, he was also with me. You've been the other woman. Sean was very calm. I knew. Sean knew about mine and Alex's relationship. We weren't really in love, and there were some things I hadn't tried to hide. Alex was shocked. You knew and didn't care? Sean said. I don't care. Alex yelled. Why don't you care? Shouldn't you be angry and want to take revenge on her? What can I say? It's just absurd. I called security. Alex was still breaking down. Do you know that in her eyes, we're just toys? Sean looked at me. Am I a toy? I thought for a moment and replied, you're like the bag of salt in my house. Everyone knows salt is really important to a person. Extremely important. Sean's lips curled into a smile, his expression very pleased. There was no need to make things too obvious, but I always liked to throw in a little sweetness. Alex pointed at me angrily. You're lying. Just then, security arrived and took Alex away. I watched his back. I wasn't lying. I just hadn't finished the rest of my sentence. Salt is indeed important, so important that when one bag is used up, you need to replace it with a new one. Chapter 12. After Alex left, Sean also left. He knew I would be busy tonight. My assistant messaged me, find something for my brother and Alex to do. They've been too idle lately, and I can't stand seeing them so unproductive. Assistant, got it. I'm a kind person. But there are conditions. As long as they don't mess with me, I'm fine. But if they do, I won't let it slide. I've worked hard to get ahead so that others will see me endure, not for me to endure in silence. Those two are done for. Chapter 13. Alex had another conflict with a classmate. His classmate created a rant account specifically to trash talk him. I spent a little money, and Alex went completely viral online. A mix of black and red, both hated and loved. At the same time, my lawyer contacted him, demanding the return of some property. Alex was overwhelmed, didn't even dare leave his house, and was completely too busy to come after me. My brother kept making mistakes at work, and on the day I secured the Zhou family project in City A, my dad sent him to the most laid-back department in the company. I went to his new office to visit him, sighing, "Brother, I really envy you. You have such a relaxed job, and your salary is so high. Unlike me, working myself to death every day." He stared at me intensely. "Lillian, you bitch. One day, I will come back." Those were just empty words. I smiled and made a supportive gesture. "Then you go ahead. Your sister will wait for you to take back everything that belongs to you. When that day comes, I'll make sure to send you a congratulatory gift." A glass cup shattered at my feet. I shook my head. "Brother, you really should listen to me and see a psychologist. With your unstable emotions, how are you going to take back everything?" He shouted. "Get lost," I replied. "All right, then." Chapter 14. The next day, I invited Sean to dinner again. He asked with a smile, "Inviting me out for dinner again for that 1% of help?" I said, "Yep." Sean replied, "Such a big favor. And it's just a meal?" I asked, "What would you like?" He answered, "When the time is right, you'll know." I knew exactly what he wanted. Lately, Sean had been subtly testing me. I played dumb, engaging in the back and forth with him. Sean is a smart guy. He knows what I like. In any case, I've benefited quite a bit during this time. But Sean isn't the type to drag things out in a relationship. He would probably make things clear soon. Chapter 15. After some time, my birthday party arrived. I had secured several major collaborations, and with hints from my dad about certain matters, the birthday party turned out to be quite grand. This time, the party had a bit of a business angle. Many people came over to chat with me. "Congratulations. You're so accomplished at such a young age. You've really been shining lately. Miss Lily, I have a project I'd like to discuss with you. I wonder if you have time." President Lily, "When Lin Corporation expands to the capital, make sure to let me know." They spoke to me with smiles. Some complimented me. Others wanted to discuss project collaborations. My brother stood in the corner, glaring at me. A few minutes later, he forced a smile and tried to engage with some people, but no one paid him much attention. The ones who did were people who wouldn't help him get back what he wanted. That's how failures are. They don't get any respect. If I failed, if I didn't have ambition, I'd be just like him. No, if it were me, my situation would be even worse. I will never let myself end up like him. Chapter 16. While I was standing on the balcony enjoying the breeze, Sean came to stand beside me. "I saw you were busy earlier, so I didn't disturb you." He took out a beautifully wrapped gift box. "This is for your birthday." I opened the box, and inside was a necklace. Eva loves jewelry and had mentioned this necklace to me. It had been auctioned off for 15 million, and I never expected Sean to be the one who bought it. I tried to decline. "It's too precious," Sean said. "No, it's not too precious." I frowned lightly. "For our relationship, you don't need to give me such an expensive gift." He looked at me seriously. "Lillian, I've already decided what I want. In fact, I decided even before that day. Lillian, I want to change the nature of our relationship, from fake to real." I didn't say anything. I was a bit distracted. I suddenly remembered that the bag of salt at home was almost used up. Sean continued, "I'm serious. You can take your time to think it over. I'll wait." Hearing this, I secretly sighed in relief. The situation was delicate. Rejecting him might cause an uncomfortable scene, but agreeing would have gone against my true feelings. Thankfully, Sean didn't push too hard. Chapter 17. Lately, Sean has been quite bold. sending me a bouquet of flowers every day. We've been together for a few months, and he still does this, which surprised many people. They couldn't help but comment on Sean showing off his affection. Eva is one of them. She took advantage of our good relationship to gossip with me. Impressive. Sean, this wandering grass is finally going to take root in your soil. Are you going to gently welcome him into this land that has killed many little grasses? I smiled politely and then gently told her to get lost. Sean asked me out. After dinner, we went to Ning to watch the night view. A little girl selling flowers approached us, lifting her face. Brother, buy a flower for your sister. Today's Chishi. Sean bought one but didn't hand it to me. Holding the rose, he asked, have you decided on what you're going to say about that day? I turned my head to look at him. I've decided. There was no point in dragging it out any longer. It was about time to be honest. He continued. What is it? I answered calmly. Sean, we're not suitable for each other. He stared at me for a while, then shifted his gaze away. His voice was calm, but tinged with bitterness. I've been thinking about how you would answer me. At first, I thought you'd agree, but then I started to think otherwise. Lillian, can you tell me why? Is it because you think I won't settle down for you, so you'd rather not even start? I replied. Sean, you're a smart person. You should understand what kind of person I am after we've spent this time together. Rather than saying I'm afraid you won't settle down, it's more that I won't settle down for you. He threw the rose into the Ning River. Sean's tone turned cold. Lillian, you really are consistent. I pointed to the steps not far away. Sean, if I weren't consistent, I wouldn't be able to walk smoothly on these steps. Maybe I'll stop at some step. Maybe I'll roll down from the top, but I don't want to stop, and I don't want to roll down. Chapter 18. After that night, Sean didn't contact me again. He didn't say the relationship was over, and no rumors circulated within our circle. His friends and family still thought we were together. Since he didn't say anything, I didn't either. A few days later, Aunt Ning invited me to dinner at the Ning family home again. I took a screenshot and sent it to Sean. This time, Sean replied, if you want to go, then go. Since he said that, I went. Ending things with Sean was one matter, but maintaining relationships with others was still possible. When I arrived at the Ning family's house, after playing a round of Go with Grandpa Ning, Aunt Ning came to sit by me. She pulled me down beside her and called for Sean. Aunt Ning took my hand warmly and asked, Lily, you've been together with my son for so long, and I know how he feels about you. He's really serious about you. Lily, do you have any plans for the future, like getting engaged? I froze for a moment, instinctively glancing at Sean. Sean didn't look at me. He spoke directly to Aunt Ning. Mom, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. Aunt Ning blinked in surprise. Mom, I broke up with Lillian. Aunt Ning's face was full of confusion. After a brief silence, the noise in the living room suddenly grew louder. Sean, tell me, is it your old problem again? Is it you who hurt Lily first? Aunt Ning's angry fist landed on Sean. I quickly stepped in and grabbed her. No, Aunt Ning, there's been a misunderstanding. We broke up peacefully, but I couldn't stop her. And suddenly, I heard the sound of a phone hitting the floor behind me. Ning's little sister ran over and slid to a stop, grabbing my leg. Sister, don't go. Don't break up with my brother. If you leave, who will play ranked with me? Who will help me curse people? I'll make my brother kneel and apologize, okay? Aunt Ning couldn't stop her, and Ning's little sister was still causing trouble. My temples were throbbing. This was a complete mess. Chapter 19. The huge commotion caught the attention of Uncle Ning and Grandpa Ning, who both came downstairs. Grandpa Ning squeezed through, shouting, Lily, you and Sean may have broken up, but you still need to play Go with me. I was speechless. Uncle Ning didn't come over but frowned at us. His expression slowly changed. Before, he had looked at me with affection and approval, as if I were a younger family member, but now it was more of an evaluating look. A few minutes later, he pulled Ning's little sister away and grabbed Aunt Ning. Uncle Ning's strong presence quickly brought the situation under control. He furrowed his brow and said, What's all the commotion about? I understand the situation. Lillian has said they broke up peacefully, So don't push it. You can't force feelings. Aunt Ning, Ning's little sister, and Grandpa Ning all looked dissatisfied. Uncle Ning continued, but since you all don't want to part with Lillian, how about this? We can make her our goddaughter, and we'll continue the relationship as family. The three of them brightened up at this idea, but Sean's expression completely darkened. Ning's little sister exclaimed loudly. Second sister, Aunt Ning added. Goddaughter, Grandpa Ning said. Good granddaughter, I hesitated and said. Godmother? Sister? Godfather? They all shouted. Yeah, Uncle Ning seemed satisfied with this response. My dad had once told me about some influential business figures, and Uncle Ning was one of them. My dad said Uncle Ning was an excellent businessman. He truly was a businessman. He wouldn't let go of a potential partnership. Chapter 20. Sean walked coldly back to his room. As he passed me, he said icily, President Lin really is impressive. He's taken over my whole family. I didn't dare say anything. Aunt Ning, no, Godmother, called me over. Lily, come here. Godmother has something good for you. I hurried over. The things that happened at the Ning family house didn't take long to spread through the whole circle. Eva was the first to rush over and ask me. I've been holding this in for so long. I really couldn't keep quiet anymore. I think Sean is really serious. You really just rejected him like that, not even giving him a chance? I pushed her head away. Do you think he can really settle down for me? Eva nodded. I replied calmly. He's like this now just because he's never met someone like me. Eva sighed. Sean's good-looking, has a good family, and his abilities are okay. Don't you think it's a pity to miss out on him? I smiled. Pity? He's not the most outstanding one. If I couldn't move forward anymore, maybe I'd regret missing out on him. But I wasn't going to stop. Chapter 21. Aunt Ning often asked me to visit the Ning family. After a few visits, Ning Corporation and Lin Corporation decided to collaborate. The person Ning family sent to push forward the cooperation was Sean. When I saw him, I unexpectedly thought of a line from a song. What can't be had will always be restless. During the meeting, Sean was distracted the entire time. Finally, I couldn't help but remind him. President Ning? He stared at me. Lillian, are you really? I interrupted him. President Ning, if you can't focus on work, I'll report this to Ning Corporation and suggest they send someone else. The next second, he stood up and left. Chapter 22. The next day, Ning Corporation sent someone else to handle the cooperation. A few days later, I heard that Sean had gone to the overseas branch, with an uncertain return date. When Aunt Ning called me to tell me about this, I was shopping with Eva, so she overheard. Eva was quite speechless. Does he want you to regret it and then cry to beg for his forgiveness to get him back? I gave her an eye roll. Can you please uninstall that novel app of yours? She laughed cheerfully. Nope. It's my spiritual food. Me, Sighs. Chapter 23. I saw Sean again months later. Fu-Chin came down from his company to pick me up. Fu-Chin was the founder of a tech startup. His team and the technology they held were extremely promising. Recently, I'd been talking to him about investment matters. I was speaking with Fu-Chin, and Sean was on the roadside not far away. We locked eyes, but I had no intention of greeting him, and Sean didn't come over either. I don't know how long he had been there, but when I came down, he was already gone. Soon after, Sean returned to the country. We would occasionally run into each other in work-related settings. Every time, we would politely exchange greetings and chat for a bit. Later on, Sean got a new girlfriend. Gossipers began betting on how long this relationship would last. Some curious people came over to test my attitude. I didn't respond to any of them. I was busy making money, busy grabbing projects. Time flew by, and years passed. My parents never mentioned marriage to me again. They couldn't control me anymore. In these years, there were some people around me. Each of them was useful. Each of them was like that bag of salt. And just like before, none of them could make me stay. I kept changing, getting better. I only liked the one who was more useful, and I always deserved better. Story 2. When I was 60 years old, my husband Aaron, without any warning, swallowed sleeping pills. When I found him, He was wearing the suit I had ironed, lying neatly in bed, with a faint smile on his lips. For a moment, I didn't know the reason for his suicide, until I found a letter in his arms. Chapter 01. My wife, Sandra, has fulfilled my lifelong promise, allowing our child to walk upright and proud in this world. Now, our son has a successful career, and our grandchild is about to be born. I have no more worries. Separated by life and death, true love cannot be held in my arms. I can finally free myself from this unfortunate marriage. This was Aaron's handwritten letter, with sharp strokes, each word cutting to the heart. The wife in the letter wasn't me. The true love wasn't me. The source of his misfortune, though, was me. I looked at Aaron, lying peacefully on the bed after more than 30 years of marriage. It seemed I never really knew him. I gave up most of my life for him, raised his son with my own hands. He was fulfilled, without regrets, and now he was dead, not even bothering to pretend. At 60, I suddenly discovered I had been deceived for half my life. I had become a joke. Chapter 02. I should have realized it long ago. The lack of love could be seen in every detail of our marriage. Aaron, claiming to be a germaphobe, slept in a separate room, with separate tableware. Except for conversations about our son, he never cared about my affairs, nor did he share his daily life with me. Later, when he had issues in that department, our physical relationship ceased altogether, but I never dared to complain, because I had a malformed uterus. I couldn't conceive, leaving Aaron without a biological child. In those days, a woman like me, who couldn't have children, being beaten, cheated on, or divorced was considered normal. In my 20s, when I thought my life was over, it was Aaron who firmly held my hand and told me it didn't matter. We could always adopt. I was grateful for his unwavering support, and I devoted myself to taking care of him and our adopted son. He worked in chemical research, and his job often required him to relocate. For that, I gave up my job at the newspaper and took care of the household. When he was struggling, I survived on hard cornbread, giving all the vegetables and meat to him and our son. For 3 years, I didn't buy a single new piece of clothing. To this day, they both still think I enjoy eating coarse grains, don't care for meat, and prefer wearing old, soft clothes, finding joy in mending them. Sometimes I did feel wronged, but thinking about what I owed Aaron, I could only sigh quietly. In my heart, I always held on to a small hope that when we grew old, we would live harmoniously with our children around us. But after enduring for so long, what I waited for was Aaron's freedom. I wanted to scream and cry. I wanted to yell and curse, but the weight of half a lifetime was too heavy, pressing down on me, making it hard to breathe. I collapsed on the floor, like a fish drowning, my mouth wide open, yet unable to utter a single sound. Chapter 03. I don't know how long it has been. Light outside shifted and flickered, and a single tear fell onto my hand. I snapped back to reality. My gaze drifted to the old wooden chest under Aaron's bed, the one with a lock. It was his sacred privacy, off limits to me. But now, I grabbed a fire axe and, without hesitation, broke open his private world. Inside were stacks of handwritten letters, thick and many. Some were yellowed with age, others worn and creased from being handled repeatedly. I knew these letters would be like sharp blades, cutting me to pieces. Yet, my hands trembled as I stubbornly began opening them one by one. My wife, Sandra. My wedding is next month. To ensure there will be no other children after marriage, I had a vasectomy today. In this life, I will only have one child. Luis, my wife, Sandra, forgives me for being with another woman. To be honest, it disgusted me, and I almost couldn't go through with it. I had to keep telling myself it was all for Luis. I must endure this for him. My wife, Sandra. I'm really fed up with Diana. Thankfully, I came up with a good solution. I told her I have a cleanliness obsession, so we sleep in separate rooms and use separate tableware. Only then can I bear to live with her. My wife, Sandra. It's been a year since I got married, and Diana still can't get pregnant. I arranged for a doctor to give her proof of infertility. She's too ashamed to face it. Soon, I'll suggest we adopt a child. My wife, Sandra. Great news! Our son has successfully been brought home. My wife, Sandra. Today I hurt myself. I smashed my genitals. Staying loyal to you. My wife, Sandra. My wife, Sandra. These words circled in my mind and ears. Impossible to shake off. I only felt dizzy and had ringing in my ears, with a suffocating feeling stuck in my lungs, sinking into my stomach, causing a spasm in my gut. Finally, I rushed to the bathroom and vomited violently. Chapter 04. I vomited until the world spun around me. I tried to stand up 3 times while leaning against the toilet before I finally managed to stand. Coming out of the bathroom, I looked around at this house I had lived in for over 30 years. Our bedroom, Aaron and I, was separated by an entire living room, completely divided. The dining table, which hadn't been tidied up, had mismatched dishes for the family, with each person's belongings strictly separate. Because Aaron claimed to be a germaphobe, our son followed suit once he was old enough to understand. Gradually, everything in our family became individually assigned, even the couch. No one ever touched anyone else's things. Once, I was so tired that I sat down on Aaron's couch, and he flew into a rage, so angry that he refused to eat dinner. I had to comfort him for hours and even take off the couch cover to wash it before he calmed down. Even today, when I found Aaron dead, I stood by the door for 5 minutes, calling him repeatedly, but he didn't wake up. I had no choice but to go in. Without realizing it, I had almost become the most boundary-conscious housekeeper in this home. At that moment, my phone rang. My daughter-in-law's pained voice came through. "Mom, I asked you to go home and get the bottle warmer. Why are you taking so long? I'm about to go into the delivery room, and Luis has to take a company conference call. I need you here to take care of me." Hearing her labored breathing, I felt a pang of sympathy. I opened my mouth several times before I could utter a hoarse voice. "Mom will be back soon. Hang in there. Don't be scared." After hanging up, my foggy mind cleared up a lot. I reminded myself that I am still a mother, a mother-in-law. Today is my daughter-in-law's delivery day, a big event. How can I let past entanglements from the older generation affect the children? Even if my adopted son is Aaron's illegitimate child, it's not his fault. How could he know that his father was such a two-faced man? He is the son I have raised with all my love and effort. He is my son, Aaron. Since you wanted to die for love, take your secret with that woman to the grave. I wiped away my tears and went into Aaron's room to clean up his letters, suicide note, and sleeping pills, erasing all traces of his suicide. It's better for our son to come home and find that he died suddenly. But as I was tidying up the drawer, I found Aaron's phone. Fearing he left something behind, I unlocked it, and there, I saw a scheduled email. The recipient was my son. Chapter 05. Suddenly, an overwhelming sense of dread enveloped me. Still trembling, I opened the email. "My son Luis. By the time you receive this email, your father will already be dead. Forgive your father for being selfish. Forgive me for not being able to endure your stepmother any longer. But don't grieve for me. To me, fulfilling my promise to your mother in this life has already brought me contentment." I read these cold lines of text in disbelief. The scene before me began to tremble. My fingers become stiff, even struggling to swipe the screen. So, Luis knew everything all along. He, his father, and his biological mother were the real family. Then what about me? What was the meaning of my half-life of nurturing him? I collapsed to the ground, unwilling to stop, and kept scrolling. What I found next truly made me feel as if I had fallen into an icy abyss. "Now that you will have a precious son and a successful career, there's nothing more I can do for you. I'll leave everything to you, sparing you the burden of caring for the elderly. As for the stepmother you despise, I've taken care of her too." I added a new biological poison to her insulin, and it's slow-acting. By the time it takes effect, your wife will have just finished her postpartum recovery. Your stepmother will make her final contribution and then die. At that time, the life insurance I bought for her will kick in, and you'll be the beneficiary. Diana has no relatives, and no one will investigate her death. Even if they do, the culprit will only be me. I will leave this world with all the blame. giving you a perfect conclusion. Finally, remember to take the letters locked under my bed and bury them with me alongside your mother. Chapter 06. In the scorching summer heat, a coldness rose from the soles of my feet, freezing me in place. It felt like my ears were in a vacuum, nothing could be heard. Suddenly, I remembered how, on Louis' birthday every year, both father and son would disappear for the entire morning. I recalled how, when Louis was little and ran away after I disciplined him, crying and shouting that he wanted to find his biological mother, I was the one who searched for him all night in the pouring rain. I thought of the time my daughter-in-law bought a bouquet of white chrysanthemums but couldn't explain clearly who they were for. Memories flashed through my mind like a revolving lantern. My thoughts were in chaos, yet I had never felt so clear-headed. After a long pause, I controlled my freezing body. Calmly, I found my medicine box, took out the tampered insulin, and replaced it with a new box to avoid suspicion. I took pictures of Aaron's suicide note, letters, and messages, then placed everything back where it was. I took the house deed, bank book, and all the jewelry. Finally, I even noticed Aaron's faint breathing. He wasn't dead yet. A cold smile played on my lips. I quietly closed his door and let him die. Chapter 07. Carrying Guilt and Wealth. I wandered like a zombie into the hospital. First, I went to the hematology department. The blood test results came out quickly, mild poisoning, causing a drop in platelet levels, but nothing fatal. Next, I went to the gynecology department to check on my uterine issues. Just after finishing my checkup, I ran into Louis. He seemed to be on a work call, casually walking over from the gynecology department. When he saw me, his irritated expression reached its peak. Rudely, he pointed at me, then gestured toward the delivery room, using his chin to impatiently urge me forward. It turns out that once you're clear-headed, you can see many things clearly. In the past, seeing him in his suit, always busy, I felt proud of him, and genuinely worried and empathetic for him, afraid of holding my child back. I willingly made sacrifices for him. But now, looking at how he treated me like a servant, thinking about all the things he hid from me, and how Aaron casually talked about poisoning me, I felt nothing but coldness in my heart. I ignored him and sat quietly on the bench, waiting for my test results. Louis's expression looked like he had swallowed a fly. He quickly ended his call and walked briskly over to me, rudely pushing me. "Mom, what's going on with you? Today is the day your daughter-in-law is giving birth, and instead of waiting in the delivery room, you're here in the gynecology department?" Chapter 08. I brushed off the spot where he touched me with disdain. "Of course. I'm here for a checkup." Louis rolled his eyes. "Mom, stop it. You're almost 60. Why are you even going to the gynecology department?" "Just because I'm 60. I can't go to the gynecologist? Just because I'm 60. I'm no longer a woman? You hear your mom is getting a checkup, and you don't even ask if I'm feeling unwell?" I felt a surge of frustration, and by the end, my voice cracked, filled with emotion. I remembered when Louis was 8 years old and got pneumonia, with a fever that wouldn't break. To take care of him, I stayed by his side day and night, without undressing, without sleeping properly for 2 weeks. I even missed the last chance to see my father before he died. Later, when Louis began to recover, I wanted to go back to attend my father's funeral, but Aaron, claiming he couldn't leave work, left our son in my care. I planned to take Louis with me to the funeral, but he was so delicate, unable to endure the bumps of the train ride. In the end, we didn't even leave the province and returned home. My brother was furious, and he cut ties with me, calling me an ungrateful daughter. He cursed me, saying I was abandoning my own family to raise someone else's child, and that one day I would face retribution. His words became prophecy. Thinking of the past, I lashed out at Louis with a raised voice. "Did I treat you with this kind of attitude when you were sick as a child?" I spoke loudly. People in the hospital cast disapproving looks our way. Louis, always concerned about appearances, cleared his throat and softened his tone. "Mom, you know that's not what I meant. It's just that your daughter-in-law is about to give birth, and I'm anxious. We can't manage at home without you." "Can't manage without me?" "Yes. When they need a housekeeper, they can't do without me. After all, Aaron is busy with academics. Luis has his business meetings, and the in-laws are vacationing in the Maldives. I'm the only one left to serve. But what about after? I don't even have the right to keep living. I can't be a burden to my son. I have to trade my own life for insurance money for him. My heart ached painfully, and as I lowered my head, a tear fell onto my knee. Luis hesitated, about to ask something, when his phone rang again. This time, it wasn't work, because when Luis looked at the phone, he froze like a statue. Judging by the time, Aaron's scheduled message must have arrived. Chapter 09. Aaron had planned everything. If my daughter-in-law hadn't asked me to go home at the last minute, I should have been at the hospital, while my son would have returned home to deal with his father's body. I would have been completely unaware of his scheme, but fortunately, fate intervened and let me see it. Luis stood frozen in place, not moving for a long while. After a moment, it seemed he had processed his emotions. Avoiding my gaze, he said, "Mom, I left an important document at home. I need to go back and get it." With those words, the last shred of hope in my heart shattered. Just moments ago, I had truly hoped that this child I had raised with all my love might stand by my side. Just this once. Even if he didn't reveal the truth to me, perhaps he could feel a hint of anger toward what his father had done. But he didn't. He was nothing more than an ungrateful child through and through. "Mom, you should go to the delivery room now. My wife can't be left alone right now." Luis, clearly preoccupied, urged me and turned to leave. At that moment, his phone rang again. I could hear my daughter-in-law's voice through the receiver. "Honey, I asked Mom to go home to get something, but she hasn't come back yet, and now I can't reach her. Do you know where she is?" She was in pain and sounded wronged. "I'm giving birth to a child for your family, and not one of you is here. I'm not having this baby anymore." Normally, in moments like this, my son would bend over backward to soothe his wife, but now he stood still, like a statue. He mechanically turned around and, trembling, asked me, "Mom, did you just go home?" My bloodshot eyes were the only answer I gave him. Luis turned pale, quickly hung up the phone, and staggered away in panic. Chapter 10. I sat in the gynecology department for 2 hours. Finally, I received my medical report. My uterus was perfectly normal. I clutched the report tightly, my mind filled with memories of the judgment and mistreatment I faced when I couldn't have children in my younger years, and the joy on my friends' faces when they had babies. I thought of the neighbor's daughter who always spent money recklessly, buying her mother designer clothes and bags, while my adopted son brought me his mother-in-law's old clothes. He still believed I liked wearing second-hand clothes, but he's in his 30s now, a smooth-talking business elite. Does he really not know that no one likes old clothes? He simply doesn't care about me. I was so lost in grief that I didn't notice Luis frantically rushing over. He cautiously asked, "Mom, why haven't you been answering your phone? You know Dad committed suicide, right? Why didn't you save him?" This barrage of questions only made me want to laugh coldly. I replied in a frosty tone, "How would I know? He wouldn't let me into his room." Luis was left speechless, but clearly, he felt relieved. Since I didn't enter the room, I naturally wouldn't have seen Aaron's letters, nor would I know about his scheme. So, Luis returned to his usual accusatory tone. "What's going on with you today? You don't care about your daughter-in-law giving birth, and you don't care about Dad's suicide either. You don't care about anything. Are you even my mom?" Ha, I really wasn't his mom. I shot back at him. "Are you really my son? You're only worried about your wife and your dad. Have you ever asked about me? Am I your mom, or just your family's maid?" I stared Luis down. "I've already gone through menopause. I can't have any more children. This ungrateful child standing before me is my only son. The only son I spent half my life raising with all my love and effort." Perhaps feeling guilty, Luis was speechless again, but only for a moment, before he exploded in anger. "Mom, have you had enough? Of all times, why can't you just hold off on your little illnesses?" Chapter 11. I looked at Luis in shock. How was he able to speak to me so self-righteously? When did this child I raised with my own hands become so rotten? Luis continued to prattle on. "Mom, You need to reflect on yourself. Why didn't you know that your husband was going to commit suicide? Have you ever really cared about him? Haven't I? Of course I have. But Aaron and I had an invisible boundary between us. Whenever I crossed into his territory, he would get angry. If I touched his things, he would lose his temper. When I asked about his life, he would become impatient. Even when he was sick, asking a few more questions was wrong. Eventually, I was trained to keep quiet, to do everything in silence, without saying a word. Over the decades, this became the norm. I spoke coldly. I don't know why your dad committed suicide. Do you? Luis ran his hand through his hair. Mom, that's what you should be worried about. Everyone has a role in this society, and your role is being a housewife. Now's not the time for wild guesses. You know Dad hated it when you overthought things. Just go take care of him, and when he wakes up, apologize properly. He'll forgive you. I responded with a cool "oh." Inside, I felt a wave of disappointment. So Aaron wasn't dead after all? It seems Luis was the one who saved him. What a loving family they are. One willing to die for love, the other rushing to save a life. And me? I'm just the person who deserves to die. At that moment, Luis's eyes landed on my medical report. He snatched it from me and sneered. Let's see what kind of illness you have. Chapter 12. Luis finally understood what was written on the report. His face turned pale, and he struggled to control his expression. Mom, aren't you infertile? Is this report wrong? Now he was getting nervous, and he had slipped up. I had never told him that I was infertile. In fact, I had always told him that he was my biological child. I looked at Luis and asked, how did you know I was infertile? Maybe Dad mentioned it to me once. I asked him why I didn't have any siblings, and he probably just made something up because he was embarrassed. Later, I figured it was probably his issue. Luis's acting was poor, and his words didn't even make sense. Looking back, Aaron wasn't much of an actor either, but because I trusted him, I was blind, and that blindness ruined my life. As Luis stammered, his phone rang again, this time. It saved him. Aaron had woken up. Luis was genuinely overjoyed. He grabbed my shoulder roughly, urging me to go take care of Aaron. It hurt where he grabbed me, and I coldly shook him off. Luis's face darkened, but he kept his patience and tried to reason with me. Mom, I know you're overthinking things right now, but whatever Dad may have done to you, it's all in the past. You're both getting older. It's time to stop making a fuss. He's right. I am getting old. I won't make a fuss. I'll simply cut things clean and fast. Seeing that I wasn't responding to his soft approach, Luis tried the hard one. His tone carried a warning. Mom, I suggest you stop acting up. You'll still need Dad to take care of you in the future. If you don't show up now and Dad gets angry and divorces you, I won't have anything else to say. With that, Luis stormed off in anger. Chapter 13. The events of the afternoon had passed, and I had calmed down. I may be 60, but I am not without resources. Half of the property Aaron intended to leave to his son belongs to me. I gathered all the family assets, including Aaron's personal property. Then I called my nephew. Aaron didn't know that I had kept in touch with him all these years. Although my brother cut ties with me, I still followed their family's situation. Back then, when my brother injured his leg and couldn't afford to send his son to school, I sold my jewelry to cover his tuition fees. Coincidentally, my nephew was admitted to a university in my city. For those 4 years of college, I secretly worked as a cook for other families, earning money to support my nephew. Without Aaron knowing, my nephew is a grateful man, and he always remembers to greet me during the holidays. However, since Aaron didn't like visitors at home, I only saw my nephew a few times outside. Now, my nephew has become a well-established lawyer. I called him and told him everything. He was silent for a long time. Then, through gritted teeth, he said, Auntie, don't worry. I'll help you fight for your share of the assets, and I'll make sure those wicked people end up in jail. Hearing the concern in my nephew's voice, I silently shed tears. I had finally received genuine care. Only now did I realize how pitiful it was to rely on the occasional token gestures of concern from people like Aaron and Luis, which I had to endlessly work for. How foolish I had been. distancing myself from my true family for the sake of that rotten father and son, my own blood relatives. True to his word, my nephew arrived at the hospital an hour later. He first took me to the forensic department, where we submitted the poisoned insulin for testing. Then he took me to the notary office to officially divide the marital property. After a busy afternoon, my nephew took me out for dinner and insisted I come back to his place. I told him I wanted to go home one last time. He tried to dissuade me. Auntie, you shouldn't go back. That place is a den of vipers. What if Aaron tries to harm you again? I shook my head. There's one last thing I need to confirm. Chapter 14. As a mother, I still held on to a sliver of hope for Luis. If he secretly swapped out the poisoned insulin, showing even the slightest bit of care for me as his mother, I would have forgiven him. After all, he is the child I raised with my own hands. My nephew, feeling helpless, had no choice but to accompany me. When we arrived at the door, we heard voices inside. My nephew quickly stopped me and motioned for me to stay quiet. I copied him and pressed my ear against the door. Aaron had come back. Father and son were talking. Aaron's voice was weak, barely more than a whisper. I told you someone had tampered with my will, but you didn't believe me. Now look. Even the box under the bed has been pried open. Diana must have entered my room. My will is fine, but the letters in that box contain too much information. Diana knows too much. Luis sounded anxious. Dad, why did you have to write everything down in the will? This isn't the old days anymore. Who still writes letters by hand? Aaron coughed a few times in frustration. What do you know, you brat? Do you even understand the kind of relationship your mom and I had? If I hadn't loved your mother my entire life, do you think you'd be where you are today? Besides, your wife was supposed to be at the hospital with the baby. How was I supposed to know she would send Diana back home? Luis's voice softened. It was an accident, I admit. But Dad, wasn't this all because you tried to hide your plan to die for love? You only ever think about Mom. Have you ever thought about me? Luis's voice grew choked with emotion, and Aaron's voice followed suit, both of them crying as if they were the victims. I felt disgusted listening to them. If it weren't for my nephew gently patting my back to calm me down, I might not have been able to hold it together. After the father and son finally finished crying, Aaron suddenly asked Luis a question. Did you destroy the poisoned insulin? When I heard that, my heart jumped. Chapter 15. Luis sounded irritated. Dad, you arranged the whole insulin thing so perfectly. Why would I destroy it? You sent the email to me. Diana doesn't know anything about it. We'll just keep letting her use the poisoned insulin, and when she dies, we can split the compensation money. She's taken my mother's place for all these years. It's time she paid the price. Hearing such cruel words from Luis, I felt a chilling cold run through my body. How could the son of such a beast be anything but a monster himself? At that moment, I knew I had completely lost hope for this father and son. Inside, Aaron was silent for a moment before speaking. You're right. Diana is just a housewife. I overestimated her. I always knew she was curious about what was in my box. So what if she's seen it now? I deceived her, but I also provided for her all her life. Even if she regrets it, can she turn back time? She can't survive without me now. She'll just throw a tantrum. But once she accepts her fate, everything will be fine. Luis, still worried, said, but Dad, I think Diana's attitude is different this time. She didn't care about whether you lived or died. And she's ignoring my wife too. Dad, we're both respectable people. We can't let her make a scene. Aaron scoffed confidently. That's nothing to worry about. I know Diana too well. She loves me too much. Hasn't she always been the one to compromise and apologize? All I have to do is wait. Even if this time feels more serious and she's upset. It's just jealousy. I'll pretend to try to kill myself again, and she'll feel balanced. She'll go back to being our servant. Luis's voice was filled with admiration. Dad, I have to say, you're brilliant. You're the perfect example of what a man should be. Aaron let out a smug laugh. I know you don't fully believe me. But don't worry, in such a serious situation, I've made sure to have a backup plan. There was a cold, murderous edge to Aaron's voice. I'll use a stalling tactic for now. If Diana has any second thoughts, I'll just kill her again. Luis, hearing his father talk about murder, didn't hesitate. Instead, he clapped and praised him enthusiastically. Chapter 16. After hearing the conversation between father and son, I was frozen in place. It was my nephew who helped me leave. Even when we got into the car, my nephew was quietly wiping away tears. I followed suit, wiping away my own tears. I've been such an unworthy aunt, barely paying attention to him, and now I've burdened him with my troubles and caused him to share my pain. When we finished crying, my nephew took me to his home. He wasn't married yet, but his place was neat and tidy, and he had already prepared the biggest room for his father in advance. Now, he settled me into that room. As soon as we got home, he started working on the lawsuit. For the next few days, my nephew took time off from work to stay by my side, running around with me, dealing with everything. During this time, that father and son duo called me countless times, but I didn't answer a single one. Luis even sent me pictures of his newborn son, trying to soften my heart. But this child isn't related to me by blood, so why should I feel anything? I deleted the photos without a second thought. A few days later, Luis borrowed someone else's phone to call me. I thought it was a call from the court, so I answered without a second thought. It turned out to be Luis, launching into a dramatic performance. "Mom, where are you? Can you stop making a fuss? Do you even know that Dad attempted suicide because of you? This time it was really dangerous. He's in the ICU. Dad left a handwritten note saying he knows he was wrong, that it took losing you for him to realize you're his true love. If you just come home, he won't dwell on the past anymore. We can all live happily as a family again." His voice was so loud, I held the phone away from my ear in annoyance. By the end of his speech, there was nothing of substance. I just responded with an indifferent "oh." Luis clearly wasn't expecting such a cold reaction. He paused for a moment, then forced a tearful tone. "Mom, Dad wants to say something to you himself." He hung up and called me back on video. This time, I answered. I wasn't moved, I just wanted to see what kind of act they would put on next. Chapter 17. In the video, Aaron was lying on the hospital bed, hooked up to tubes. When his cloudy old eyes looked at me, they were filled with what he believed was deep emotion. In a weak voice, he began reminiscing about our past. "Diana, the truth is, I liked you from the very first time you came to interview us at the office. But at that time, I was always thinking about the one who passed away. I couldn't see clearly. Later, I stubbornly held on to that. Never mind. I didn't realize until I'd lived most of my life that I still didn't understand it. When I think about everything I've done, I feel like killing myself. Diana, I had to die once to realize I really can't live without you. Please come home." Aaron gave a heartfelt performance, even managing to squeeze out a tear. As for me, I felt nothing but goosebumps. No emotion. I thought to myself, if you don't watch years of soap operas, you can't come up with lines this cringeworthy. 60 years old, still talking about love. This old man hasn't learned a thing in life. I wanted to say something, but my nephew had advised me not to startle them before we officially filed the lawsuit. So I stayed quiet, watching him perform intently. When Aaron ran out of lines, he finally realized that I wasn't moved at all. His cloudy eyes shifted, and suddenly, he leaned closer to the screen. In a cold, eerie voice, he asked, "Diana, where are you right now? I want to see you one last time." The murderous intent in Aaron's eyes flickered through the screen, and I could feel it clearly. Startled, I quickly hung up the phone. That night, I had nightmares about Aaron and Luis, both wielding knives and cornering me, stabbing me again and again with vicious fury. Even when I woke up the next morning, my mental state was poor. I went downstairs in a daze to buy groceries, but as soon as I stepped outside, I was arrested by the police. Chapter 18. At first, I thought the police officers were there to help me, until they grabbed me by both arms. Panicking, I asked, "Officers, why are you arresting me?" The police explained, "Ma'am, don't worry. Do you not know that you've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's? We received a report from your husband and son, saying you've been deceived and ran away with all the family's assets. It took us a lot of effort to find you. Don't worry. We'll take you back to your family now." I hurriedly tried to explain. I'm not sick. I left on my own. I want a divorce. Ma'am, people with the disease often don't realize they have it. Your son has already submitted your diagnosis, confirming that you have Alzheimer's. Of course. Another diagnosis. Aaron and Luis were up to their old tricks again. Had they not done enough already? Accusing me of yet another illness? I frantically tried to explain that I wasn't sick, but the police seemed to trust the diagnosis report more. One of them pointed to my nephew, who was being restrained, and said, "This is the person who's deceiving you. Your family wouldn't hurt you." Seeing my nephew in handcuffs made me furious, and I started struggling violently. A crowd began to gather, with some concerned people muttering, "Isn't this police brutality?" They pulled out their phones and started recording. The officers had no choice but to explain the situation. Taking advantage of the moment, my nephew leaned closer to reassure me. "Auntie, don't worry. Once we get to the police station, they'll do an evaluation to see if you're really sick. The police will give us justice. They're lying about something that can easily be disproven, which means they have other motives. We need to be prepared." I calmed down, realizing my nephew made sense, and cooperated with the police. Sure enough, after several hours, my nephew proved his identity as a lawyer and our familial relationship. I also cooperated, demonstrating that my mental state was sound. We then took the opportunity to file a report and formally accused Aaron and Luis of attempted murder. Chapter 19. When I walked out of the police station, I finally felt a sense of relief, as if a heavy weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Now, all that remained was to go with my nephew to the forensic agency to collect the evidence, and Aaron and Luis would be finished. But just as I stepped out of the police station, a shadow rushed toward me. Before I could react, Aaron's twisted, old face was right in front of me, and in his hand was a syringe. In that split second, I thought it was all over for me. But suddenly, a police officer rushed out, kicking Aaron to the ground with a flying kick. This old man had attempted suicide twice before, but this time, he couldn't stir up any more trouble. With a venomous look in his eyes, he glared at me and cursed, "Diana, you won't die peacefully. You conspired with outsiders to harm your husband and child. How could you turn on the child you raised yourself? You don't deserve to be called human." His shameless words made even the officers present roll their eyes in disgust. I had a lot of insults I wanted to hurl at him, but I didn't even know where to start. Saying anything to a monster like him was a waste of breath. My nephew picked up the syringe from the ground and handed it to the police, angrily saying, "Officer, I told you this old man wasn't up to any good, and here he is, attacking someone right in front of the police station." The poison in this syringe is probably the same as the one he put in my client's insulin. Now that he's caught red-handed, he'll face multiple charges. The police acted quickly, gathering all the evidence of Aaron's crimes. However, since Aaron insisted that his son knew nothing and that Luis hadn't directly participated in any criminal activity, only Aaron was arrested. 2 weeks later, Aaron's attempted murder case and my divorce case were heard together in court. Before the trial, Luis appeared as a witness. He intercepted me in the hallway, bringing up memories of his childhood, trying to rekindle my motherly affection. He pleaded for me to take less of the assets, to leave more for him, as he needed to raise his child. I found it laughable. In every situation, it was me making sacrifices for him. What had he ever done for me? Giving me leftover grains? Handing me his mother-in-law's old clothes? Don't even think about it. I'm not giving you a single cent. I pushed past him, heading toward the courtroom, but he lost control. He ran in front of me, shouting, "You've never worked a day in your life, so why should you get so much of my dad's money? Just for being a housekeeper? Have you ever thought about how you'll live the rest of your life? You're 60 years old. Who's going to take care of you when you're old? Are you expecting your nephew to do it?" Chapter 20. To this day, seeing Luis thrashing around in rage, I no longer feel any heartache. I only feel like laughing coldly. So what if I'm 60? It's never too late to turn things around. With all the evidence in place, Aaron's sentencing was without suspense. Forgery of medical documents, attempted murder, insurance fraud, and malicious deception, the combined charges earned him 30 years in prison. He'll die there. An old man in a cell. The judge also granted my divorce on the spot, since Aaron was at fault, and most of the assets were awarded to me. After the trial, Luis chased me down the street, screaming insults. It was nothing more than the same old complaints about me stealing what was rightfully his. I didn't hold back. Following my nephew's advice, I posted all of Luis's wrongdoings online. Luis's reputation quickly crumbled, and he lost his job. His wife left him, taking their son with her. As for me, I received an overwhelming wave of sympathy from people online, outraged by my story. They said things like, "She's just an old lady, let's all chip in a little bit and raise a pension fund for her." I declined their kind offers. I have enough assets to take care of myself, and I asked them to donate to those in greater need. But through this experience, I felt the warmth of strangers, much warmer than the coldness of my own family. I started my own live streaming channel, sharing my daily life as a retiree, and it's been well received. Next, I plan to start a series on traveling in a camper van. 60 isn't too late to begin a new career. Before setting off on my travels, I went to visit Aaron in prison. I told him that, years ago, I'd heard about his first love and had my suspicions about Luis's origins. Back then, paternity testing wasn't available, so I had a blood test done. Aaron is blood type O, and Luis is AB. They could never have been father and son. Aaron was the one who had been deceived his entire life. Aaron's pale lips trembled for a long time, and as he stood up, he coughed up a mouthful of blood. He muttered, Sandra, you've deceived me so bitterly." I didn't look back. As I walked out of the prison and into the sunlight, I chuckled. I lied. It seems that, compared to his supposed true love, he trusted me, the one who had been a fool for so long. More deception, after all, only requires belief. No matter how absurd the lie, it can be taken as truth if the listener believes it.